coming to you with this answer in my pajamas/workout. Don't mind the dress attire. The information will be there for you. Tight hip flexors versus weak hip flexors. Well, a lot of times work together. So if you have tight hip flexors, they're typically weak hip flexors. And if you have weak hip flexors, they very likely could be tight. So if you're someone that sits a lot during the day, they're constantly flexed. So they're not in a full range of motion. It would be like if your bicep was like this all day, it wouldn't feel normal for it to be fully extended. And you can't strengthen a tight muscle. So tight hip flexors are generally weak hip flexors. And here's a test that you can test to see if they're weak, and then I'll show you a test that you can do to see if they're tight. You're going to lift up a knee, and it would work great if you have a partner, if you have a buddy, to apply pressure on you. If you're weak, you won't be able to resist the pressure. And then check both legs. So if they're weak and you hold your leg up like this, and you can definitely hold on to something for support. But if you hold your leg up like this and then you remove your hands, you should be able to hold that leg up there. Okay. If it's weak, it's going to immediately drop like this. And then try the other side. A looped band secured at an anchor point wrapped around my ankle. And to strengthen the hip flexors, again, you can hold on to something for support. Lift that knee up. Now, standing is going to require a lot of core balance and engagement. You can also do this laying down. Now, here's how you're going to check to see if you have a tight hip flexor. You're going to lay down on a flat surface. You're going to hug one knee into your chest. Now, as you pull this knee into your chest, if your hip flexor is tight, this leg is going to want to pull up with it. Now, if it lays flat like mine, you don't have a tight hip. The adductor muscle plays a huge role in helping to support the pelvic floor. So sometimes what we see is when the adductor muscles are really, really tight, those adductor muscles are taking on so much of the working load. There's a weakness and an imbalance. The adductor muscle is where we think of our inner thigh, so just right along right here. So if that muscle is always on and never has a break or isn't having a fair transfer of load from its counterparts, it is going to be tight because it never gets a break. So when the inner thigh is really, really tight, it means that the glute med is very, very weak. So both of these muscles right here help to support the pelvis. The inner thigh supports the pelvis right here internally, and the glute med helps to support the pelvis externally. The other contributing factor that helps here is your transverse abdominals. Okay, so if a weak transverse abdominals is going to push a lot of that pressure and load onto your inner thighs. You're going to lay down on a flat surface, heels together, knees out. Now, if your adductors are tight, your knees might not be able to go all the way out. Also, if your adductors are tight, you may get this anterior pull at your pelvis, and then that would tell you that your adductors are tight. So to help your adductors out, you can strengthen your transverse abdominals and give them support. So if your transverse abdominals are stronger and everything can hold itself up better right here, it's not going to dive into those adductors. You can also give your adductors a little myofascial release work to help loosen some tension, doing some exercises that will help to strengthen the glute med.